Hello, everyone. I hope that you were able to join us for our virtual meetup this morning, but if you weren't, hopefully this is a good review, and this will also help you complete your assignment for today. Okay, so be listening carefully the entire time, because what you need to remember today is you need to have one thing that you learned, okay? One thing that you learned or took away, so it's takeaway and ask away. Have one thing that you can take away from this lesson and something that you want to ask to further understand, okay, what we're talking about. So keep those things in mind today. That is your assignment. As we get started today, we're going to begin with a welcoming ritual. I want you to look at this picture. Okay, so this is a picture of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, okay? It is located near the mouth of the Mississippi River. Look at just how beautiful it is. I want you to think about what you can see. If you could tell a friend or a family member an idea that you think that this picture represents, what would that idea be? Okay, so I need you to think creatively, okay? Dig into the depths of your mind and really pull out something that this picture could represent. And take a moment and pause the video so that you can go share with someone around you. Okay, so this is a lot like finding the main idea. And I want to review our I can statements for today, our learning objectives. At the end, these are the most important things that I want you to be able to do. I want you to be able to determine 2 or more main ideas of a text and explain how they are supported by key details, okay? So we are going to look at the main ideas today, and we're going to see how we can support those main ideas with key details. Good readers are always analyzing the text for the main idea and supporting details. This is the main focus of a text, including the topic and what the text says about the topic. You can remember this by following the equation. Main topic plus what the text says about the topic equals the main idea. Okay? So I've posted 02.03 to your folder today. Okay, so you can look over 02.03 Main Ideas Exploring North America if you would like to, but we're going to cover most of that in this video, okay? What I do want you to look at is if you go to page 4, there's a cool little video right here that's going to show you some tips and tricks, okay, when finding main idea. So let's look at some of these. Here are 3 tips and tricks that they give us. 1, to look at text features, okay? So our text features are titles, okay? So that's the big title that you see at the very beginning. We have the headings, which is the small little things under the title that maybe tell us what the paragraph is about. The title is going to tell us what the entire article or the entire excerpt is about, but the headings are going to tell us specifically what the paragraphs are about. You can also look at pictures, diagrams, and bolded words, okay? And these are all going to point us back to the main idea because they emphasize important information, okay? We are only going to see a picture in the article of something that really has to do with the article, right? That's really important to the article. Same thing with the title. The title is going to be about what the article's about. Key details and examples. So when you read a text, you're going to look for important points about the topic. You want to look for examples and details that support the main idea, okay? So we want evidence to show us that, yes, this is the main idea. If I can find something a bunch of times in a text, if it's a repeated detail, then that's probably a clue that it is my main idea. Okay, and number 3, topic or closing sentence. Commonly, clues to find the main idea can be found in the topic or closing sentence. The topic sentence introduces what the text will be about. Okay, and then the closing sentence will summarize everything that you read about. But remember that the topic sentence isn't always the first sentence. It could be the second or the third. So you really need to look out for when it pulls you in and explains to you what the text is going to be about. Okay, that's your topic sentence. When you are trying to find the main idea of a text, you can ask yourself these questions, okay? So remember these questions. What is the text mostly about? What are the most important parts of the text? What is the main topic of the text? What similar information did the author include about the main topic? What details or examples support the main idea? So what details or examples support the main idea? What do the text features tell me about the main idea of the text? And is there any additional information repeated in the text? Okay, so we can look for repeated information, text features, details that support the main idea that we think it could be. We're going to look at the topic sentence and the closing sentence, right? Those are all important things to look at. I'm sorry for the beeping in the background. That does happen sometimes. So we're going to look at this really quickly and read it together, okay? And I want you to try to think as we go through this what the main idea of this text could be. Bastion Fort. Fort Morgan is a bastion fort, characterized by a pentagon formation. This shape has 2 benefits. First, it provides 5 regions to place cannons for defense. Second, approaching enemies are visible and easily challenged. Also, the stone bastions keep the defending soldiers away from the wall's edge. In addition to the unique shape, ditches were dug around the fort. These ditches required extensive men and hours to create. The dirt was removed, then used to reinforce other walls and pre-existing structures. The style of Fort Morgan was purposely planned to reduce casualties. Earlier forts were usually built on hilltops and included high walls. The higher the walls, the more secure the inhabitants felt. In order to overtake the fort, the enemy needed to scale the walls or shatter the gate. This was difficult when defending arrows rained down from archers high above. When the cannonball became a weapon of destruction, Fort Morgan needed to change. Okay? So that is our article. I want you to think to yourself, what do you think the main idea could be? Okay? So we talked about a few different things within the text. Think to yourself, what is the main topic? Let's check and see if you're right. When scanning the excerpt, the word Fort Morgan is repeated in both paragraphs of the text. The word fort is mentioned multiple times. Therefore, the main topic of this excerpt must be Fort Morgan. Okay? Okay, so we're talking about Fort Morgan in this entire thing and how, let's see if you can produce the details, okay? So you think of those details, okay, that support why this is the main topic. So I'm going to come up here. You can pause the video to look for clues. Okay, let's see if you're right. What does the text say about the topic? When reading the text, there were many details about one particular type of fort. Fort Morgan is a bastion-style fort, or a pentagon shape. This allowed 5 regions to place cannons for defense. Approaching enemies were easily seen and challenged. Ditches were dug around the fort for further protection, and it was specifically built to reduce casualties after the cannonball was made, okay? So what is the main idea? The main idea of this excerpt is that Fort Morgan, a bastion-style fort, kept soldiers safe. Phrases like provides 5 regions to place cannons for defense and approaching enemies are visible and easily challenged supports the main idea. Okay? So, before we go today, I want to, let's see, we're going to get to it in just a second. First of all, I'm going to show you this graphic organizer, okay, because you're going to be using it tomorrow. So I'm going to show it to you, and then we are going to read together Exploring North America, okay? So this is a historical text. That means it's based on real events that took place, okay? So we're about to read that together, but before we do, this is what you're going to get tomorrow, okay? So you are going to find the main idea. Okay, so at the top, you're going to put the main topic. And then you are going to put a main idea that you can get from what we read today. And the supporting details that show you this could be a main idea. Okay, and it's got 3 spots for you to do that. So let's go ahead and read this together. Exploring North America. Written by Lila Erickson. Okay. Table of contents. Why be an explorer? Who were the explorers? What did they accomplish? And the glossary. Introduction. Centuries ago, the exploration and colonization of new lands were a way for countries to extend their political powers. The ocean journey from England, France, or Spain to North America was 3,000 miles of unknown dangers, but it led to potential discovery. The journeys began in 1020. 3 reasons to make the voyages were religion, wealth, and competition. Why be an explorer? Each man who made the journey had a reason to explore. A common reason was their enjoyment of adventure. Discovering the unknown can be exciting. Others were scientists who enjoyed charting and drawing maps. In order to expand their study, they needed to journey abroad. A few travelers sought riches, like gold and spices, for financial gain. Also, missionaries hoped to share their beliefs by providing medical care and life skills. Their goal was to aid the Native Americans, who the Europeans perceived as uneducated. There were numerous reasons to explore the new lands. There seemed to be numerous regions to explore. Who were the explorers? Leif Erikson. Historical records indicate that Leif Erikson, a Viking explorer, was the first man to reach North America. Leif is credited with landing along the coastline of present-day Newfoundland. This happened about 500 years before the Italian explorer Christopher Columbus started his voyage. A Viking settlement was established and occupied for several years before Erikson left to return to his homeland. Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus left his homeland in 1492 to seek wealth in the form of trade items. He was destined for China, but erred in direction and arrived on Watlings Island in the Bahamas. It was a long and dangerous journey. His crew was on the verge of mutiny, so the sighting of land was a positive thing. Upon arrival, Christopher Upon arrival, Columbus dedicated the newly discovered land to the King and Queen of Aragon. Columbus made 3 more voyages to North America. To the very end, Christopher Columbus was adamant that he discovered a trade route to China. He denied ever being to North America. Pizarro Cortez. Spanish explorers Francisco Pizarro and Hernan Cortez made treks to different American regions at different times. Both sought gold and wealth. Pizarro landed among the Incas in the Andes Mountains. Cortez entered Aztec territory in Mexico. The Incan and Aztecan populations were both well established. Both cultures were rich in gold and art, but neither population embraced the arrival of the explorers. In fact, both Spanish teams made a hasty retreat, fearing for their lives. Sir Walter Raleigh was a soldier, writer, and friend of the Queen of England. Around 1587, he sent English colonists to a region later called Virginia. Since the people arrived together, their previous lifestyle and beliefs were transplanted to the New World. De Soto and La Salle. Both of these explorers navigated sections of the Mississippi. De Soto was Spanish. His focus was in the southeastern part of the New World. René Robert de La Salle was French. Historical data credits La Salle as being the first explorer to traverse the Mississippi to its mouth at the Gulf of Mexico. He claimed the land that bordered the Mississippi River, about a third of present-day United States, for France. The land would be colonized, and de La Salle made attempts to do so. He encountered difficulties such as dangerous rocks, pirates, and miscalculations while navigating. Eventually, he built numerous forts along the route, but the settlers were often terrorized by the natives. The settlers also suffered from disease and lack of food. Juan Ponce de Leon. Credited with sailing around the southern tip of Florida, Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon had several adventures in the New World. He was part of a journey by Christopher Columbus in 1493 to Jamaica and Haiti. In 1508, he built the first settlement in Puerto Rico. His journey around Florida occurred in 1513. At the time, he thought Florida was an island. When he returned to Florida in 1521, he was wounded by a poisoned arrow, which ultimately ended his life. What did they accomplish? The multiple brave men who sailed across the ocean to the New World accomplished a great deal, despite pirates, natural disasters, and sickness. New settlements and regions were established. Several explorers made more than one trip. A few found riches and prosperity. Mostly, though, they colonized a new land. As the rules changed in each home country and the new settlements organized, ownerships changed. Land along the Mississippi that was once owned by France was ultimately purchased by the U.S. The Spanish explorers wanted to introduce Christianity to the world. That happened to a degree. Today's North America has roots in the past. The various explorers from England, France, and Spain have left their legacy. There is religious diversity, a wealth of natural resources, and people enjoy independence. So our glossary says missionary is a person who promotes Christianity in a foreign country. Mutiny means rebellion of soldiers or sailors against their superiors. And legacy is something left behind as part of history. So that's all for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that story, and I hope you're thinking about what the main idea was of that text that we read and things that you could be pulling for tomorrow. All right, make sure you complete your takeaways and askaways, and I will see you soon. Bye.